Hello, my thought for today is a ray of hope in the darkness, and it comes from Jeremiah chapter 33. In those days and at that time I will make a righteous branch sprout from David's line. He will do what is just and right. In those days Judah will be saved, and Jerusalem will live in safety. This is the name by which it will be called, the Lord our righteousness. Now I lived and worked in Horsham for quite a few years, and for 10 years I cycled to work across Horsham Park from where I lived to work in the centre of town. I cycled across the park, and what always caught my eye was a large ornamental thistle in the centre of the park by the pond that I saw every day with these beautiful bluey flowers. And it was beautiful to see during the summer months. And then it faded a bit about this time of the year, and then as time went on, eventually it was cut down by the gardeners and the contractors, and to all intents and purposes it was dead and gone. But the next spring new shoots came out of the ground, and within a few months it was back to its former glory with beautiful ornamental flowers again. That's what it was like for Jeremiah. The people had sinned and were going into exile. Israel as a nation had finished. It was like a tree had been cut down at base, and there was no hope of recovery. But God reveals to Jeremiah that a green shoot will appear from the dead tree of Israel, and it will sprout into a branch. So Jesus was that tiny shoot when he was born to a poor young woman in an obscure town in Israel many, many years later. Some people recognised it, but for most he was just another baby. But he grew and lived and eventually died and rose from the dead. And he became that branch, that righteous branch, the Lord our righteous Saviour that had been looked for generations before. He was the promise of the ages, lifted up to save us, Jesus Christ our sacrifice. What kept Jeremiah going through those bitter years of exile was the thought that this righteous branch that had been promised would one day come. And we too need that hope, don't we? That ray of hope in the darkness, that in the dark winter moments of life there is hope because of Jesus. Even in the chaos of the world around us and all that's going on that we can't really understand, we can say and sing, God is working his purpose out as year succeeds to year. God is working his purpose out, and the time is drawing near. Nearer and nearer draws the time that shall surely be when the earth shall be filled with the glory of God as the waters cover the sea. So that's my hope for today, that righteous branch, a ray of hope in the darkness.